Content Warning Bot here. Content warnings for this episode include death, mentions of war and oceans, fear, discussion of madness, and possible insanity. Welcome back, listeners, to our sporadic but consistent broadcast of your stories. Today we're talking about the ocean. Many are afraid of the ocean, but others go for months on end to brave its depths. Many are swallowed whole. Many aren't seen again. This story is about Walter.
Breathing so heavily.
As soon as I locked the doors, I ran back all the way.
Why?
I wanted to see your face.
What?
I wanted to see your face after the whistle blows.
Whistle?
Aye, it'll blow just as always.
But I told you to...
And I did. I locked the factory, shut the big doors, and threw the bolts, but the whistle's at the powerhouse, and some of them are always there. Aye, the whistle will blow, and they'll march to work.
But they won't get in.
Aye, here they come.
You'll start me to the mainland very early tomorrow, William.
It's a long way.
I know it, but it's got to be done.
Too long a way.
You've a sail. Tonight I'm putting an end to their marching. Tomorrow I'll... What's that? William, don't you hear it?
Aye, I hear it.
It's from the factory.
Aye.
As if they were breaking down the doors.
Aye.
Yes, that's what they're doing. Williams, don't stand there. Go and stop them. Tell them the factory's closed forever. Tell them it's ended.
Go tell them yourself. They've broken in, gone back to work.
People don't brave the depths like they used to. When I was young, much younger than I am now, I loved the thrill of going out into open water. Nothing around you but the ocean and stars. I found it relaxing, peaceful. I worked a whaling ship coming out of New Bedford. The whaling city, they called it. But times had been catching up. Other fuel and materials had been found to replace what whales used to provide. I never saw Moby Dick or whatever the hell those whalers were seeing at the peak of business. We had small whales, ones that could fit on a ship, not a great beast that could swallow you whole. Although ships did disappear, not mine. I was a damn good sailor, and so were my crewmates. However, workers would come back with stories, tales of the sea. It's part of the job. Cracking a joke or making an experience seem intense to create this drama of life at sea. I never felt the need for it. The peace of the ocean was more of a home to me than the land could have been. Naturally, I remembered stories, or did remember. My mind isn't what it was. But I recall a time that a ship never came back. Disappeared off the face of the earth with its crew. They found a crew member a week later. Alone. On a single hunting boat, barely clinging to life. He had come back to the warehouse and... well, he wasn't right. You know those people that have the glint in their eyes where you just know that something going on in his mind isn't what it should be. I had neighbors come home from the war like that, looking 1,000 miles away. Not there. He kept working, though, going out with a ship or two, until one day we were saddled with him. We were all a little on edge about it. We all normally went out on the same schooner every time. We knew each other and trusted each other with our lives. And here he was, far away and unfamiliar. Nothing seemed wrong with him until we reached our hunting area. To put it short, he went mad, shouting, groaning. Someone tried to calm him, but he just went on and on. His eyes blew wide, and he looked directly at me. He kept speaking nonsense about the ship, its holding weight, the strength of our men, how the ocean was too deep for any of us to be out this far. I don't know why no one thought to put him somewhere contained, but they put him on a hunting boat and sent us out. I could hear his shouts from my position. That's a terrifying thing. Noise. The sea in our schooner had the ambient noise you'd expect, except now there was a sudden and sharp edge to it. This man was disrupting peace. My peace. But there we were, in the middle of the ocean, with the shouts of a man echoing against nothing but air. I could see the boat they'd put him on violently rocking as he stood to escape. No one even tried to stop him as he dove, still shouting into the depths. He never came back up. We didn't look for him. We had a job to do. I think we all felt a little guilty about leaving the poor man at the mercy of the deep. But he'd wanted to go, and we weren't going to stop him. I kept hearing his screams, the fears, the weights, and the sizes. Having that in your head, locked in your mind, when nothing outside is causing it, drove me a bit mad. I think the other crewmates were feeling it too. We started getting sluggish, sloppy. We lost a whale and a few men. My crewmates, who I'd known since I'd started, began to look tired, that glossy look coming over their faces. Some of them had fought in the war, if I recall. They survived, of course, and returned to work in a place where their lives were still in danger. I'm sure that wasn't an accident. We were out on our last leg, 4, maybe 5 months in. We had a whale, I think. No one had really spoken in a few weeks, just silence. Silence in the way that makes you feel wrong, uncomfortable, but you aren't going to do anything to fix it. No one brought up the man who drowned a few months prior, but we were all thinking it. Again, this job is full of supernatural tales. I think he was haunting us. I started to hear my crewmates shout at night. Terrible screams. Nightmares, they said, from the war or from back home. Whaling isn't a sane man's profession. We all had secrets. Pass. We didn't ask each other anything. Just a silent camaraderie. We were almost done with our trip when it started. The shouts, the hysteria. Not in the night or just before dawn, but in the day, when the sea was a little too rough and looked about as deep as the sky was high. They started rambling, the same as the man before, shouting, listing, trying to escape. We locked them away. Men can go insane at sea, but it felt like it was spreading. The call of the ocean, and the man who had died by choice in its depths, calling to them. Calling to me. I wasn't tempted to join them by any means. The underbelly of our ship is, to put it plainly, terrible. It reeks of meat and death. Whale, why once profitable, wasn't something I'd use as a fragrance. The men who were down there shouted all day, all night, non-stop. One had escaped in our last week at sea, dove right into the ocean, and again didn't resurface. We needed to get back. The screams, voices, were too much, piling on top of one another, getting louder and louder and louder. And they never stopped. We got back by some miracle of God. We had 6 operational crewmen. I still have the scars from the ropes that were getting pulled against the wind. The shouting from beneath the deck was louder than the waves. I don't remember a lot of it. People nowadays would say it's trauma, your mind protecting you from something you can't handle. I still remember them. It's been years, decades, and I could still hear their screams. When we pulled into port, there wasn't any fanfare or celebration. There never was. Although it felt like there should have been. We unloaded as we normally did with our land crew. All of the crewmates had returned to silence, glassy eyes, 1,000 miles away. I never got back on a boat. The whaling industry was dying before we'd went out, and now the majority of the crew members being unfit for the job was the final nail in our coffin. All the ships and photos became history in the blink of an eye. My life, my work, gone. The hysteria never took traction on land, although I learned of some of the men going on cruises and going mad, same as they had on our final trip. I didn't get drafted. I was too old this time around. Well, technically I wasn't, but they deemed me unfit. I wasn't capable of representing our country. Again, I saw my neighbors return with glassy eyes, so far away, across an ocean, a battlefield. I moved away from the ocean. If I ever get close, I can still hear them calling, trying to turn me. My daughter has a cabin there, near New Bedford. I went once, but it was non-stop. Their screams. I know this is repetitive, but I need you to understand that they never stopped. No matter what I did, I still remember their names. The men. We didn't keep in contact. It wasn't something you did. We did a job, and that was the end of it. I don't know how many of them grew old, or how many I outlived. I consider myself lucky. I built history, not in a war, but on the ocean. I'm sorry, again, can you hear that? Probably nothing. My ears aren't what they used to be. You know, the 100-year anniversary is coming up, and I'm not around to see it. I'm gone. A piece of history. A photograph. A memory.
Thank you so much, Judy, for coming in and talking about one of the oldest families in the area. See you again soon, listeners.
See you again soon.